Hi there, you guys. My name is Heidi Swapp and welcome to Notions Commotions. I'm super excited to be here, and even though we're not together, I think this is an awesome alternative. So I'm really excited to have this opportunity to talk to you about my newest kind of system for memory keeping that's called Storyline Chapters. So we've kind of broken this class up into 3 parts. Video 1 is going to be about me explaining the system, how it works. Video 2 is going to be like you seeing overhead me crafting the project, so you'll be able to follow along. And in video 3, I'm going to be able to show you some different alternatives, different ways that I have really kind of mixed it up to, basically this new Storyline Chapters has just really reignited my passion for memory keeping. So I want to go ahead and tell you about that. Before I get started, if you are sitting there and you have the instruction sheet, it looks something like this. And inside here, mine is actually printed out on double sides. So if you would like to, on the supply list here, for each page, there's the first spread, the second spread, and then the third spread, and the fourth spread. If you would like to go ahead and do some of that cutting into paper pieces while we're chatting, you could sure do that. You'll see me do that in video number 2. But just in case while we're talking, you want to be busy, I also want to let you know one of the interesting things about Storyline Chapters is that really you don't have to have certain papers, you don't have to have certain tools, you don't have to have certain anything. You can just grab whatever you have in your stash and go. It's really designed to be whatever it is that you need it to be, which is actually super cool. So I think that that's one of the things that has made it resonate with people so much and gotten so many people excited to scrapbook again, to be crafting again. Okay, so let me just I'm gonna grab some things here. Now, as a designer and as somebody who is constantly trying to come up with new and different and fresh ways to tell our stories, I really had gotten to thinking and about that we needed something a little different, that I needed something to change for me because I was just felt a little bit stagnant. Now, I've been a memory keeper and a scrapbooker for as long as I can remember. And as many of you may know, in our family, we kind of had, we had a super traumatic experience, which is almost 5 years ago. And we lost our son, Corey, who at the time was 16. He passed away from suicide. And at that time, I had been very busy designing a product, traveling, teaching, and I was super consumed, super passionate about scrapbooking. And it just kind of seemed like everything came to a halt. I had to think about things in a different way. And in fact, it's taken me a long time to even get to where my creativity was even happening. It was just hard for me to get motivated, hard for me to get excited about telling my story because there was a lot of healing and grieving that needed to happen. So it was really about this time of year, last year, when I started to just really think about what I wanted different for me, for my own storytelling. And I got thinking about how different parts of my life I was wanting to document in different ways. So for example, I love memory planners. And so for the last 5-6 years, memory planners have been my go-to way of telling my story. It was something that didn't require a lot of work. It didn't require a lot of creativity. It was easy for me to get in and get out. But I was still documenting what was going on. I was adding photos in, and it was still a way that I could really tell my story. But I started to realize that there were certain things that I wasn't able to document in my memory planner, and I needed a little bit more space. And so I would make mini books, or I would approach certain memories in a different way, or not approach them at all because I didn't really have a way to incorporate them into my memory planner. Then again, there were other things in my life that I wanted to be able to tell more of a story. Maybe there was more writing, there was more processing, and I was wanting to document those things in a little different way as well. So I kind of found myself in this place where I was going to these notebooks to write in my journal. I was adding photos and memories into mini books and in just kind of individual projects here and there. And then I had my memory planner. And I realized that I was documenting different parts of my life in very different ways. And that was okay, because everything that happens in our life, it's not a cookie cutter. And so what we want to remember them and how we remember them and how we document them can be very different. So I was trying to kind of compartmentalize. I was trying to categorize what things I wanted to scrapbook about, what things were in my memory planner, and what things I was really journaling. Because all of these are really super important, wonderful ways of telling our stories. So I started to just have these ideas of what does it mean to be a scrapbooker? What does it mean to be a journaler? What does it mean to be a memory planner? And as I kind of looked out on social media, or even friends that I knew or family members, I was like, she's really a journaler, and she's really a planner, and she's really a scrapbooker. But what I realized is that actually we're all in the same category. We all have different parts of our lives that we can tell in different ways. So this is where storyline chapters came from. At the time, I also had a group of really young girls that were brand newly married, and I think we had 5 babies born on my team this last year. And it was these younger women who were starting out their families, starting out their married lives, that were telling me that they wanted a smaller format. They wanted something a little bit more flexible to be able to tell their stories. And so we started kind of playing with these ideas. So we were able to define the scrapbooker as somebody who loves photos, who loves creative art, the art process of scrapbooking. And she loves that texture and maybe mixed media, stamping, the tools, all that kind of stuff. She's a scrapbooker, and she's going to tell those stories. These are like highlights. These are parties. These are special occasions. These are milestones that we're capturing. Maybe favorite trips. That's what's being kind of captured as a scrapbooker. A journaler might be heavy on the storytelling, on the writing, and she may be adding little bits and pieces of her travels or of her projects, or just her regular everyday, that the journaling isn't as much photo-centered as it is story-centered. And then for the memory planner, of course, we're going back to this really amazing spectrum of how do you tell your everyday story in a calendar-based situation. So here's what happened. We came up with a set of books. We call them chapters, chapter book inserts. This is the scrapbooker set. This is the journaler set. Kind of a little bit more of a vintagey vibe. And this is the planner set, which is fresh and fun. And what we actually did was we created a paper collection that spoke to all of these 3 genres. Then we created some albums called Storyline Chapter albums, which are, as you can tell, it's a little bit smaller than the albums we've been used to. This is like an 8 by 10. And the binding system in here is completely different. And it was actually inspired by those vintage magazine album storage that you might remember. I remember as a kid, we would actually get church magazines every single month, 3 of them, one for the kids, one for the youth, and one for the adults. And so my grandma had like volumes of these storage albums where she kept forever those church magazines. And so she'd go back and study and pull on them for lessons or whatever. I remembered them, but I hadn't seen one in so long. So I just thought, oh my gosh, we need something new and different. So the way this works is that there comes 9 little skinny, very flexible rods. They're kind of just like a spaghetti, except for they don't break if you bend them. So in order to put these books into the album, you find the center of the book, which is pretty easy because the books are saddle stitched. It's just a stitch that goes all the way down. You open it up and lay the book. I'm not sure how well you can see this here. Hopefully you can. Lay the book in between the 2 brackets. Take that rod, insert it in the bottom bracket, kind of put some pressure, bend it up, and put the top part of the rod into the top bracket. Then what happens is the book stays in there, and you can see that you can line up several books inside. Now, the album actually comes with 9 of these rods, but I'm here to tell you that it's really a lot to put 9 in there. But you can also, there's extras in here. I'm looking around for a card or something that I might have. This is just a cute little card that I made. So if you wanted to keep track of a card or a clipping or some type of announcement, that's something that could also pop into the rod. And you can store all kinds of different things in this way. But here's what's interesting. If you were in a place where you had, say this year, you have your scrapbooks, and maybe you've got a couple chapters of scrapbooks. Maybe you're highlighting a wedding, a baby, a trip, or just everyday life. Maybe you're also, so you've got a couple chapter books, and maybe you've also used the Storyline Chapters memory planner. I'll just kind of give you an idea how I like to use mine. I love that process of daily documenting and micro journaling. In here is kind of where I just have fun, and these little teeny notes really jog my memory. So inside here, you could have this weekly memory planner. You could have the month at a glance memory planner, which is what this book is. And once you have these, along with some of those chapter books, you have a really interesting kind of almost 360-degree perspective on what happened that year, rather than just kind of scrapbook page after scrapbook page. It kind of fits together. It kind of tells a more well-rounded story. And then you capture it all in one album. These albums are beautiful too. I love how they turned out. They're fabric covered, very classy looking. They're not too big that they won't sit on a regular shelf. They have this beautiful book plate on the back so that you can fill in whatever you want to fill in, whether it's a date or a title. And it's just a really interesting, different, refreshing way to tell your story. So you've kind of seen the 3 different sets of books. There are also 3 different albums. This black one says the word timeless up at the top. This blush pink one says love life on here. And the gray one actually doesn't say anything. So it's kind of blank. So you have these different choices for the albums. Now, really, any type of book or magazine or card or little mini would fit inside here. So it doesn't have to be in the Storyline Chapters system. It obviously can be, but there's so much flexibility for what can happen inside these books and albums. So I want to show you what else comes with the Storyline Chapters line collection. And there's actually a lot that goes with this collection. So just a couple things to give you an idea. So as I mentioned, there are 3 different personas, we call them: the scrapbooker, the journaler, and the planner. So for the Storyline Chapters, to go with these books and these albums, we created a project pad for the planner, the journaler, and the scrapbooker. I think this is right. So a project pad is different than just a regular paper pad, and I'll show you why. When you open up the project pad, you will find 3 sheets of stickers, okay? You'll have 1 sheet of clear stickers and then 2 sheets of cardstock stickers. Then you will have several sheets, and all 3 of these project pads are the same, several pattern paper sheets, along with a bunch of solid sheets. The solid colors, okay, so let me just kind of show you so you can see the back there. So a total of 8 pattern pieces and a total of 8 solids. So 16 paper pads, 16 papers. These are single-sided, and then the 3 sheets of stickers. So that's exactly what you're going to find, and I'll just kind of show you, with all 3 of these sets. Now the colors and the styles of these papers all kind of go together, so that's kind of a cool thing that you can kind of mix and match depending on what it is that you're working with. And now obviously you don't have to use the planner papers in the planner or the scrapbooking papers in the scrapbooker. They're all super fun to use, mixed around. Now one good thing is that these papers inside the project pad are the same size as the books. So if you want to go in there and add paper to create backgrounds, you can just pull it right out and stick it right in. That kind of works 2 ways. It gives you that scrapbooker vibe, more color. It also gives some strength and stability to your pages if you're adding a bunch of photos. Okay, the other thing that goes with these books and the albums is the sticker sets. So there is likewise 3 different sticker sets, and I don't have the planner one here with me. So each one of these sticker sets has 8 sheets, and inside here, and I'll show you just really quick, there's cardstock and clear stickers, there's photo corners and alphabets, and little confetti stickers. So an example would be you're going to have like flowers, corners, labels, dates, alphabets. These are chipboard stickers, more like theme stickers, and then like word confetti stickers. So you kind of get a similar format for all of these sets, but with 8 pages, there are so many different stickers to choose from. And that's one of the things that makes it really fun to create in these books. The 12 by 12 project pad and the 6 by 8 paper pad. Now, let me tell you the differences. The 6 by 8 paper pad is all of the papers in the Storyline paper collection. So it doesn't have any stickers, it's just 6 by 8 papers. The 12 by 12 project pad is completely different. In fact, the papers that are in here are different than the 12 by 12 double-sided papers in the paper collection. So the project pad has 2 pages of foiled cardstock stickers. They're beautiful, there's a ton of them. It's an awesome assortment. There's also 2 specialty papers that are printed with the gold foil, the rainbow and this beautiful, beautiful botanical and butterfly page that has the gold foil on there as well. Then there's also 2 sheets of glitter in here, as well as the pattern papers and the solids. So I'll just kind of show you on the back. There's 8 different pattern papers and 10 different solids that just kind of have a light texture. So it's kind of fun to be able to have a totally different assortment of stuff in the 12 by 12 project pad than just a regular paper pad. So that kind of gives you an idea. All right, so in addition to the 12 by 12 papers, the project pad, the 6 by 8 paper pad, and the 3 different chapters project pads, there is also just the fun stuff that you have in a traditional paper craft line. So these craft stickers that I use all the time, the 12 by 12 sticker sheet that is just that super high quality cardstock sticker sheet that has gold foil accents, and this whole page is labels, and then these are just embellishments and phrases. Then you have the washi set, just to kind of give you an up close there. You have the citrus, the dots, the rainbow, the who, what, where, the diagonal, the rainbows, and then the geometric down the bottom. It's kind of like an abstract color block at the bottom. This I love. This is in the paper collection, and it's a journaling spot set, and each one of these little pads have 10 layers. So the floral pendant, the rainbow circle, and the ledger card that is great for journaling, whether you're doing the planner, in the books, or regular scrapbooking. I love this postcard set, so I'm just going to kind of fan these out. You get 6 different vintage postcards in the kit, as well as these 12 postage stamps. They're so cute. I love them. I wish there was more. I keep running out of them and having to get me new packs because I use them all the time. And then there's this really fun set of tags that are printed on cardstock. There's 12 of them. Oops. And they're all kind of like journaling, fill in the blank little tags. I love them. This one's my favorite. This little lemon is so cute. And I love these kind of long, skinny ones. So that tag set is really fun as well. So I think that the only thing that I don't have on hand is the stamp set. I don't know where I lost it, but I was trying to find it. The storyline concept always starts with that basis of if you've got the who, what, where, and when, then you have the foundation for your story. So I have the stamp set is kind of little boxes and date places where you can always make sure that you're filling in that who, what, where, and when as you are telling these stories. For this class today, I will be using the Scrapbooker Chapters insert book, and I will be using the project pad, and I will be using this sticker set. So this is all that's needed, super easy kind of class kit for you to recreate, and a great place to start. But no matter where you are, no matter what supplies you have, you can play right along because I'm going to be teaching you some fun techniques because these books are open and right there for you to access. We can create really fun and interesting interactive pieces that make it fun to open and look inside and pull things out. So I'll give you just a little bit of a preview. This is the sample. We'll be creating this beautiful intro page. I'll be showing you how to make a little pocket inside here with a tag. And then I'll also be showing you how to create 2 other ways to create little pockets for interactive elements. And then you'll be able to have fun carrying on and throughout this book. So gather some supplies, some tools, and go ahead and meet me in the next video where we're going to be actually creating this chapter insert book. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started by creating this fun title page. It's got this butterfly, and we're going to go ahead and dip right into the project pad. So we'll flip and find kind of this painterly design. Now, as I mentioned before, this project pad is designed to be the same size as the paper, but I usually like to trim about 1/8 of an inch off of one side and the bottom, just to give myself a little bit more breathing room. So I'll go ahead and do that now. And then I'm going to put my adhesive all the way around the edges and go ahead and stick this right in the front cover here. Okay, I'm going to dip back into the paper pad and pull out a piece, just this really light pale pink. And we're going to go ahead and cut that to 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. Now I'm going to pull a piece of a vellum sheet out of this Mink Surfaces pad, and I'm going to cut this just 1/4 inch larger on all sizes, so 6 1/2 by 4 1/2. Now the vellum is actually going to go right underneath the pink, so I'm just going to go ahead and adhere the pink right on top of the vellum, trying to keep even vellum all the way around the edges. And we'll go ahead and mount that right to the paper. Now in my original sample, I put this on horizontally, but then when I decided that I wanted to show you guys how I would put some photos in here, I decided to flip it to a vertical photo, so it's also just centered. I'm adding a little adhesive to the photo and then kind of centering that on there. You should have about 1/8 of an inch all the way around of the pink. So we'll turn to the tags in the sticker book, and we're going to pull out this one. It says this, and then on the end is kind of a fold over piece, and I'm going to go ahead and put it right here at the top, and then just leave that little flap until I move to the next page. Now this paper, this botanical paper, is actually going to go on the back side, so I'm going to rip that out along with the cut apart page. And what I want is this centerpiece that says, remember this, write this down. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut that one piece right out. Now, just because this is a little bit different being vertical instead of horizontal, I'm just trying to decide if I want to put it at the top or if I want to put it at the bottom. And I'm just going to grab a pair of scissors, and I'm going to trim just a little V after the second phrase, and with a little bit of adhesive, I'm just going to layer that right on over my photo. I got a little glue on the photo there that I'm just going to rub off. All right, it's a little tricky. I can't decide if I want to cover up the feet or maybe just cover up the legs. All right, so now I'm just going to kind of layer the bottom piece down there. I've also cut a little V out of the end of that as well. All right, so I'm going to choose some of these same elements that I originally chose. So pull out the project pad again, and we're going to turn to the sticker page and find those those stickers. So love this tag and the date one that's in blush pink. And I'm just going to I'm going a little rogue here from my sample, my original sample, and just repositioning things just because I changed the orientation of that photo. I am a huge fan of photo corners, you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this pretty blush photo corner for the top right and this map photo corner. It's a little bit larger for the bottom left. Now I'm going in search of a little butterfly sticker here and a little arrow. So I'm going to add the arrow over the tag, cut the butterfly sticker right in half, and put half of it up in the top left and the other half of it kind of in the middle right. And I'm going to pull off this clear ampersand sticker. And I could either put it at the bottom or up at the top. I think we kind of want to land up here at the top. All right, now I'm going to peel off my favorite sticker in this set, this big butterfly that's clear, and I'm putting it on some extra vellum. And I'm doing that because I'm wanting to only adhere the butterfly down in its center. So I'm actually going to kind of fold it so the butterfly's wings kind of pop up. So I'm cutting all the way around the butterfly, folding it on either side of the butterfly's body. And I think I'm going to have it right up here in the top left. So I'm going to use a little bit of this Glossy Accents, which is an adhesive from Ranger. And I'm just going to position it and kind of hold it for a few seconds so it will dry. All right, now just for funsies, I'm pulling out a date stamp. This is my magnetic date stamp, but instead of I'm not going to use the magnetic outer piece. I just want to go ahead and stamp the date. I'm going to go ahead and stamp it up at the top, and then I realize I also have a date at the bottom. So I'm just going to add extra dates. What the heck, I love dates. Now, you guys, this is my one of my secret weapons. I am using sandpaper here, and I'll just go ahead and sand just to kind of distress. So you can see the differences here. I put the butterfly in a little different place and the stickers in a little bit different place. So sometimes it really just comes down to the position of your photos and how it looks. All right, so we're going to move on to the next page, and you're going to take that second paper and fold it right in half into the center. And just like I did on the first page, cut about 1/8 of an inch off on the top and the side. And we'll go ahead and adhere this botanical piece right to the back, right to the paper there on the left-hand side. And now I can fold down that little flap on the tag. And I'm going to use the sandpaper just to kind of sand the edges. Now I'm going to pull this piece of gray paper out, and I'm going to do 2 cuts. The first cut is going to be 3 5/8 by 9 inches. And I'm going to set that one aside. So just take about 1/8 of an inch off the length of that one, the height. And then I'm going to cut another piece that is 1.5 inches wide by 9 inches long, and then sliding that and scoring it in the center so that I can fold this in half. Now this piece that I'm folding in half is going to actually be what I adhere in order to form this pocket. So with the folded side to the center of the book, the fold, I'm going to go ahead, I forgot. I'm going to use this 2-inch punch to punch out this half circle so that it's easier to get to the tag that's going inside there. Now you can have the pattern on the showing or not showing, either way, but I'm going to go ahead and run adhesive on this little hingy spine piece, And again, just a reminder, the fold is going to the center of the book. Go ahead and add adhesive on there again and fold that page right down on top of it. That's just going to close the pocket. Now, I'm not going to worry about the bottom of the pocket because the tag kind of has an overlaying tag, but I am going to make sure that my folds are nice and by using the bone folder. All right, now from the project pad, we're going to pull another kind of blush pink paper, and this time we're going to cut a piece that is 3 1/4 by 8. Now this is going to be the tag that goes right into that pocket, the base of the tag. So this is kind of a layered tag concept. And that should just fit right into the pocket. And then we can go ahead and adhere this gray piece onto the back side of the pocket. Should be the exact size. Now give yourself a little bit of space so that it doesn't over sit in the spine area. Now we're going to cut the tag that is kind of the overlapping tag. So from the project pad, pull out this pink map paper, and we're going to go ahead and cut this one to 3 inches by 6 inches. And then I want to just cut a little V in the bottom. So I just kind of do a loose fold in half and snip at a 45-degree angle to create that little V. Now I'm going to also take this piece of ledger. Now you might have to dip into something else. I pulled this from another place, but I'm a sucker for ledger. So I cut this at 3 1/2 by 7, and make sure you've got a nice crisp fold. And we're going to snip off the corners. Just kind of bite off the corners using a circle punch. That one's a 5/8 inch circle punch. And I'm sanding it just for distressing and to make sure I have a nice crisp fold. All right, shim that overlaying tag down about a 1/2 inch and go ahead and just staple it in place. And then I'm taking just a little sandpaper. If you're curious, I like about 110 grit sandpaper, and I use it all the time. You guys might be able to hear Rocky in the background, so that's my dog, so sorry. I can never get him to be quiet while I'm doing my voiceovers. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put adhesive inside this piece, and we're going to adhere it around the pocket, but allow it to come off the edge of it about a 1/2 inch. So it's like a tab sticking out. Then you can see here how cute that looks with the overlaying tag kind of holding that tag into place. I'm going to grab a couple stickers out of the project pad to layer over this. And because I don't like anything to be even, I kind of have the stickers coming off it a little bit, which looks cute, but then the back, right? The back is sticky. So I'm just going to take a little kind of scrap of paper and cut it approximately the same size as that label and adhere it to the back of the sticker so that that little sticky piece is no longer sticking down on other parts of the project. Perfect. All right, now I'm going to cut this gray tag piece that's from the cut apart page, and I'm going to go ahead and cut a V into it, just kind of biting down into it, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere it on the right side of this page. It's kind of towards the bottom right corner. Perfect. Now, I usually like to add stickers and embellishments once I have the photos in place. So I'm just kind of having a little fun adding stuff here and there. So I'm grabbing more photos from Quincy's. This is from her senior photo shoot. And I love these photos so much. So I just thought it would be fun to kind of share with you how I added photos into these pages. Sometimes it's kind of hard to envision, but I thought that these would be perfect. So I have several that look very, very similar, and the background is totally the same. And so I'm just kind of cutting off the sides, and back here on the right, I'm just going to kind of lay these so that I can fit a bunch of them in a row. Just kind of layering them and trying to get as many photos here as possible. I'm going to go ahead and tuck another photo right underneath that flap. So these hidden tags I usually like to use for some hidden journaling under there, but sometimes it's a great place to put more photos, whatever you want. But I just love the interactiveness of a tag and a pocket. I think that it creates interest and curiosity as people are looking through the books. And that's one of the really fun things about this chapter's insert book format, is that you can play around with these pages. All right, so I'm back into the stickers in the project pad. Like I said, I just love these project pads because it's amazing to have solids, patterns, and stickers all in the same book. So I'm using sandpaper kind of here along the edge. You guys, I don't know what the deal is. I just can't resist sanding the edges. I think it just kind of takes the edge, well, it takes the edge off, but it just kind of makes it lay a little bit smoother and to me look a little bit more finished. Now I'm pulling out the stickers, again from that sticker set, and adding in some photo corners. These are kind of the larger size. It's like an olive green map pattern. And after I adhere them, I'm just kind of softening the edges with sandpaper. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the other two of that same set on opposite corners. So, with photo corners, you don't always have to do it on all four corners. To me, it's almost just an embellishment. It's a way to add color, pop, and give you a little bit more texture. So I say you can never go wrong with photo corners. The other thing that I love about these sticker sets is there's a bunch of clear options, which I really enjoy kind of placing right over photos. So that's what I'm doing here. In case you're wondering, there's people in my backyard, and that's why Rocky is so concerned. We actually found a beehive out there, and Eric hired somebody to come and relocate the bees because he's concerned about the shortage of bees. I don't know if you've heard about that, but anyway, that's what's going on in the backyard, and Rocky is not happy. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to add a what sticker. Well, let's put a where here and then a what on the back. That just is kind of a prompt. With Storyline, I always like to remember to write where, what, when, who, because that's really the basis of every story. Rocky. All right, on the next page, we're going to go ahead and create this 2 different pockets. So here's what I'm realizing, you guys. In my original sample, I cut this Let's Go page down. I cut it down a little shorter, and I didn't do it when I was making the second sample, so sorry. So I'm taking a piece of ledger. This is different than what you'll find in the same project pad that I've been using. But 3 inches down, I'm cutting in about 1/2 inch, just a slit that's about 3.5 inches wide. And I'm just doing that because I'm going to go ahead and create this little pocket. It's almost like a hidden pocket because it's right in the background of this page, which is even kind of fun. So with my adhesive, I'm going to go all the way around the outside edges of the paper and then also right along the top, over the top of the slit. And then just go ahead and adhere that paper right down. That's going to allow me to slip a tag right behind there. I'm just kind of cleaning up the corners there. All right, so I've got this Let's Go from the cut apart page, and I'm just going to trim a little V in the side. And I'm going to adhere that to the page just right above that slit, right after I sand it. So just a little adhesive on there. And I'm going to align it just right to the edge of the page. Now, because that's a hidden pocket, I want to put a little something there to let somebody know that there's a pocket there. So I'm just kind of taking a little scrap of that pink matte paper and I'm folding over 1/2 inch and sharpening that fold with a bone folder, cutting a little V in there, adding a little bit of adhesive, and this piece is just going to fold right over the slit, kind of marking out that hidden pocket. So you could really tuck anything in here. I'm going to cut this little flower piece from the cut apart page, and I'm going to turn that into a tag. So I have a shipping tag here that I'm going to punch a hole and tie the floral piece onto the shipping tag. After I sand it, of course. And what's going to happen when we have 2 tags layered, then when you stick the back manila tag into the slit, it won't fall all the way down. And I'm just going to tie that. Now I'm going to cut a 1.5 inch by 9 inch piece from this matte paper. This is a little different paper than I used in your instruction sheet. We'll go ahead and score right down the center of this piece. Rocky, no. Fold it in half, sand the edges or use a bone folder, and then we're going to put adhesive inside this and Rocky, go ahead and adhere it right to the edge of that paper. Now, I just love the extra color pop that it gives you on the edge, but I also love the extra rigidity that it gives the paper. So this is a great technique for these books, is just to add that little page edge. Okay, now we're going to make a vellum pocket. So this piece of vellum is, let's see, 4 inches tall by 5 inches wide. And I'm going to use my bone folder and scoring tool. And I'm actually going to score in 1 inch on each side and 1/2 inch on the bottom. That should fit this little tag from the cut apart sheet just perfectly. So I'm going to fold along those score lines, and then with scissors, I'm going to cut a 45-degree angle off those corners. Then with it facing up, we'll go ahead and add adhesive on the side, the bottom, and the other side outside of the score lines. Then fold it back in and place that pocket right down on the page. All right, that's just going to slide right into that vellum pocket. And I'm going to fold it in half, trim off just those little corners to create a little bit more of a tag effect. And I'm even going to punch out the hole. Of course, I'm going to sand it. And then we'll go ahead and grab a couple stickers out of the project pad again. I like this floral that I'm just going to layer over the top of the vellum. And I'm going to grab also one of these tab stickers, and I'm just going to cut a little bit off of the bottom of it just to make it a little bit thinner, so that it doesn't go all the way to the edge of the paper. All right, I love it. So now I'm just going to grab a couple more of the senior picks and trim them down. And this way you can just kind of layer them and tuck them. They could certainly be added into the pocket. I mean, with storyline chapters, there are so many different ways that you can add photos. In fact, I want to encourage you, when you get a minute, to head over to my Instagram feed. And if you just click on the IGTV of my Instagram, there are so many little videos that are kind of just quickly sped up videos showing you different ways that you can add more and more photos and create interactive elements inside these books. The possibilities are endless. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this. Hopefully it's something that is sparking your curiosity, getting you thinking, and creating some opportunities for some fun, creative play. I'm going to pull, I love these clear, it's like a clear label sticker. I'm going to layer right here over the photo. And I wish there was more of them. There's only 2 in that whole sticker set. I wish that there was more every time. I'm going to grab out this gold foiled "You've Got This" sticker and layer that right over the clear frame. And of course, how could we not use photo corners? And again, notice I'm just doing opposite corners. It's another one of those just little clear stickers. The little clear sticker just kind of has some script writing on it. It's a little clear butterfly that I'm adding on here. Lands on the pocket. Fun little postage stamp sticker. And all that is still needed is some handwritten journaling. Okay, join me in the next video for some more samples. Okay, now that we have spent some time learning about the whole system and also creating, I want to kind of show you some samples and some fun ideas of what you can do inside these books. So this is one of my albums, and I kind of just want to take you through some of these. This is more of the storytelling part of the chapters books. And I mean, the thing is that these chapter books really can be anything you want. So let me just start out by kind of showing you. This is one that's dedicated to Quincy and her last year, her senior year. So just to show you a couple fun techniques here is that, you know, when you're dealing with pages in a book, and we kind of talked about this a little bit already, it's fun to be able to play into the consecutive, you know, the book aspect. So what I did in this particular book is I actually cut the pages, these two pages, to be a little bit shorter so that you could see more. I always love that kind of cascading effect. So right here on the very front page, you can see that I have created beautiful layers out of stickers. You'll always spot the photo corners because I'm such a photo corner lover. Tags, tabs that I really like. I do like, and this is something that we kind of played with, I do like creating these little page edges with paper. So these photos are printed 3.5 by 5 inches with the white borders. And I like that because it keeps them nice and clean. So I've got stickers layered under here. I've got photo corners. I've layered stickers over the photos as well. Here's those craft thickers. And then as I turn the page, you know, this is kind of a typical thing that I like to do is create like a cluster of photos and then a single more dominant photo. So here on these, I've got, you know, little tabs. I've got some homemade photo corners here, and then a little cluster with some pop dots. You can kind of see the dimension there if I turn it, hold it up. These stickers are from the sticker sets, and that's what I've got in this book to start out with. So I've got a lot of work to do here. This is another one. This features Capri, and also I'm kind of going back a year for Capri. So I started out with the last day of 7th grade, and I'm kind of going through from last year at this time to this year at this time. Now this was a really fun technique, and this is one of those techniques that I was talking about when I mentioned the fact that when you're working inside a book, you kind of have some unique possibilities. So I created a window and added embellishments around the outside of the window. This little butterfly kind of is dimensional. I put some dimension behind this little rainbow guy. I cut this piece of glitter, this frame, which is super subtle, and it's the kind of glitter that doesn't come off. This is from the chapter's project pad. that I showed you earlier. These are some washi tapes. And then you'll see that I also have some other 3D elements that are kind of peeking out here. And those I ripped this page, this second page, and then put these little embellishments in there so that they're kind of layering over this set of photos. So these are also the 3.5 by 5 inch photos, and I've just trimmed them down and kind of put them in an order. Now this is something that you saw me do in the last class with the pictures of Quincy, kind of in that same outfit, same background, but there's so much personality in the different poses that I didn't want to miss those either. You'll notice that this paper is from the project pad, the 7x9 project pad, as is this background paper. So I'm usually finding that I don't put paper on the back of both pages. As soon as I say that, I probably will. There's no rules. So on this side where there's two photos kind of stacked, and these are actually 4x6 photos, so you can tell that they're quite a bit larger. These have some homemade photo corners with a really similar color paper, and then some photos that are layered on top. And then over on the side, again, kind of more of a dominant photo, where I mentioned to you that I love that concept of putting the when, who, where, and what. These are stickers right from the project pad. And again, as you just fill in those questions, you're really able to construct just the basics of a story. All right, you guys, and I still have a lot of work to do in this book. Okay, so just by way of showing you again, I'm going to go ahead and pop this book out so I can lay it a little bit more flat to share with you. This is a book dedicated to Connor, and actually I love title pages, and so I just haven't quite gotten to the title page for this book. And I'm almost halfway through this book, and you can see that it's pretty thick. We've got a lot of great memories in here so far. So I'm still working on this one. But I started here with a 2-page spread featuring Connor's hockey right now. You know, this kind of feels really like a 2-page spread, but it's amazing how much more achievable it feels when it's downsized. So these are the 3.5 by 5 inch photos. This is kind of a fun one because I cut a photo down into a tag and layered it right on top of a tag. Here's my Who, What, Where stamp from the Storyline stamp set. A tag from the project pad, this ledger paper. Like I said, I actually just want a pad that's all ledger paper because that's how much I love it. I really do. You see some photo corners in here, and I'm gonna kind of zoom in on this for you. Is these chipboard letters that I've added just a little bit of texture stamping to. This is some stickers from the project pad. All right, now the rest of this book that I have done is actually dedicated to a trip that Connor and I went on together, and I really love it. So I'm gonna kind of bring this up closer to the camera so you can see it. I did some stamping. These are Heidi Swapp stamps that are from, okay, bye. These are from, let's see, Honey and Spice. And I just end up mixing all of my stamps. This stamp right here, this box, is from the Storyline chapters. And then these are from Wolfpack. And so, you know, that's the great thing about stamps, is that they're just always available to you. So here's kind of another example of my, I think kind of my go-to system, where I have several photos on one side and then kind of a feature photo on the other side. But I did something unique on this side, is that I actually created a window that goes through to the next page. So for me, this is kind of one of those curiosity things where it draws you onto the next page. I also like to put some type of element sometimes in the middle of my page, almost like a title page. We've got the photo corners again. All right, so there I am with the ledger paper background again. And you saw me use this stamp in the last video, but this is what it looks like when you actually have the magnetic portion of it, where it says it's a good day to have a good day. There's a few, I think 3 different magnetic pieces that go onto that stamp. So here again, you're seeing photo corners, washi that I like to kind of make sure that I'm holding the photos down with a little bit more. And this was actually a really cool technique that you might want to try. So I put the word 7 right onto my stamping block, and then I pressed halfway into the orange ink and then halfway into the pink ink. And I did that on all these different, the 3 different words. And I love how that turned out. It's super fun. This is from, it says date, time, and location. This is also from the Storyline Chapters stamp set. And this word Nevada is one that I actually used from my stencil ruler. That's from my memory planner collection. Okay, so this is a fun one. Oh, and you guys, this is me doing what I said that I don't usually do. Look at that. I put 2 papers on in the background. And actually, this is paper that is trimmed down from the 12 by 12. This is not out of the project pad. And this alphabet is from Art Walk, and it comes white, and I inked it with some Distress Oxide ink from Tim Holtz. I love that stuff. But here's another one of the things that I really love about the Chapters book is this ability to make things completely interactive. So notice how I have this little tab here that says open and this little circle. And what happens is I can open up this piece for more photos and more stories inside. So Sancho's Tacos is our favorite down in Southern California. So if you're going there, check it out. So here I have some definition stickers and 2 photos overlapped where I've got the photo corners here on the outside and some more journaling. Okay, this one, I love how this turned out. So I have a couple photos here, super cute. I've got, again, with the photo corners, and one of the photo corners is actually a different color, which is a fun, just kind of color, diagonal color element. But this page, I actually cut this is from Art Walk, and I cut this out using my Cricut. And so I actually, this is 2 pages that I cut a window out of 2 pages, and then I sandwiched this Good Vibes Only in between the 2 pages, and then glued and sewed around the outside. And I also sewed on this little tag. So I think that turned out really cool. So here's another collage of photos. And one of the things, again, with the interactive elements is that I actually stitched around 3 sides of this photo to make it a pocket. And then this little tag set with journaling can just tuck inside. There again, you're seeing the paper right on the edge. Okay, this page turned out super fun. We went and we toured Stance Socks, which is a family favorite. And I wanted to be able to put a little bit more photos in here. So I created a little mini book that There's even tags that come out. So there's more information. And this little book just has a little more journaling and highlights some more photos. And this little tag just holds it closed. Oh, and you guys, I put paper on both sides of this too. So this is as far as I've gotten on this chapter book, and I love it. All right, I'll show you one more example. This is one that I did I'm hoping to fill it with memories from this last winter. And so my title page is a photo of the house during the winter. And we actually did a lot of fun things together. One of the Christmas presents that we gave the kids was a ski weekend. So we rented a cabin up near Snow Basin, and we just had the best time. So again, I have the who, what, where, when. And on this one, I actually used the washi, just cut apart pieces of the washi and filled in what that was. I've kind of got double photo corners on each one of these. And so this one's kind of interesting. Again, added more interactive elements. So I've got two photos here side by side, and added stickers on top here and here. And then I just added a little photo flip here, which is cool. And you can kind of see it. I have folded it, and the bottom part is tucked behind these photos. So it just gives me an additional place for two additional photos. And there you are with another photo grouping on this side. Now, in order to create this interactive element, what I actually did was I cut, so this is 2 pages, and this used to be 2 regular sized pages in my book, but I trimmed it down this way, and this way, and cut apart this extras, and it made kind of like a little mini book inside where I could put extra photos. So I love this technique where I just took a beautiful photo, almost like a postcard photo, and I layered the chipboard alphabet on top. And then here, you guys, this was the favorite part of our trip, cheese nachos on the slopes, best, right? And then I've got some stickers here and tabs that kind of helps me know that there's something to look at extra. And then here again, I've just got a collage of photos that I loved. All right, and now more pages to fill. So each one of these books is 24 pages, and so a lot of stories can get captured in here. Okay, now I want to transition over and talk to you a little bit about my memory planner, because memory planner has been something that is so important to me, and it's a way that I really get myself into a documenting place at least weekly, sometimes daily. And so I talked about this a little bit in the first video, because we have this, I'm going to get to some blank pages. We have this week at a glance book that is undated. It goes all the way through the whole year. This book goes 6 months, and then the second book, which I don't have sitting right here on my desk. It's got cute lemons on it though. And then you've got this second book, and I actually added on these clear tracks to put lightbox letters in there. So that's kind of a fun little project. And so in here is kind of a month at a glance, and I'll show you what that looks like when it's empty. So let me just kind of show you some of the things that I really love about this book as a memory keeping book. Now, for one, I like that this chapter book could be put right in to my other book that has more of the individual chapters for each of my family members. So this is kind of just like it just fills in all the cracks, right? As it documents our week. And for me, it's not just what happened to me, it's like my whole family. So if I were to, this takes us back all the way to Monday, December 30th of 2020. And I do realize this is before anybody could get it, but I was able to start my year off with this. And I know that this looks really busy, but when this gets broken down into days, it's actually so achievable. I kind of like to write little bullet point areas of things that I did, breaking down the times. But when I look in here, it totally takes me back. And I'll be honest, some days nothing gets written. And that makes me mad because I honestly can't remember what happened. But I like to add in stickers and elements from the collection. Here I've added some tags, some clear stickers, labels. This is from the 12 by 12 sheet, washi, and photos. I really love putting photos into my memory planner. This is a place where I tell kind of the nitty gritty about what goes on in our life. And what I've always said is that by documenting like this, I kind of stop the blur. Have you ever caught yourself saying, you know, oh man, last week or last month or last year was just such a blur? Well, this will really help that stop. Here I talk about a snow day. So we got snowed in and the teacher sent out a snow day challenge. This was one of my friend's birthdays. And I like to create these little interactive elements. This was me kind of practicing with the mink, some new projects that I made in my wood shop, a party that I went to, a boutique that we were selling at. And then sometimes nothing. But so much happens that if I don't write it down and document it, then I might forget. There's a little photo flip. Now, if I'm being smart, this is what I do. I'll write stuff onto a Post-it note, and then I can go back and add into it. So this book, I'm really mad at myself sometimes when I do this, because this was such an amazing week. And then this is when the lockdown started and the cancellations started. And we're kind of trying to figure out how serious things were going to get. For us, we had a big earthquake here in Utah. It featured St. Patrick's Day and some of the things we were doing in our lockdown. This is kind of when things got really real for us. And I want to share with you something that I kept. Capri had written down all the important dates that we needed for her dance. Look at all of this stuff. Competitions, conventions, spring break, dress rehearsals, concerts, and all of this has been canceled. So it's just kind of this little heartbreaking, and I wanted a place to keep it and remember it and really kind of honor this experience. So all of these things are the most meaningful to me. And when I look back, it helps me remember what we did, what happened, and how I felt and how I dealt with it. So this is just a fun, small way that we can capture our now. And now we're heading into May. And yes, I'm already a little behind because this is today. And this is when you guys are taking this class. And so I got to get started on that. So I haven't been doing as good on this as I would like to. Like, this is February. And spoiler, this is March. And this is April. So what's going to have to happen here is I may have to skip a month. Which, you know what? Sometimes it's okay. Because I actually really love doing this. So let me show you what it looked like when I was doing it. In this case, I actually printed out a little 2x2 photo for every single day, and I wrote down the things that I was working on, kind of the highlights of each week. I wrote down something I was grateful for, all the different things I was working on. I wish that I would do this, because I forget. But like I said, you can't always do everything, and so you kind of have to do what you can. But I really love this, and I think that, like, so March is probably out the window, and I'm gonna probably jump in with May here, which, you know what, it's okay. It's okay. Anyway, so I just kind of wanted to give you an overview of how I like to incorporate Memory Planner in with all of these storybooks. I want to invite you, this one in particular, I filmed a whole bunch of videos. So if you head over to my Heidi Swapp Instagram and you click on to the IGTV, you'll be able to see process videos of how I made these, of working inside my planner, this particular books. I have a few others that I don't actually have here with me, but that I do have videos of that you can check out. Because being able to see what other people do is so inspiring. You guys, thank you for joining me. You know, yesterday was Mother's Day, and I woke up and started thinking just like about the memories, right? And I went downstairs and pulled out scrapbooks and scrapbook pages, and all the memories just come flooding back. I don't know if you can even see these. You know, here's one from when we were living in Beijing. You know, I just wanted to remind you that memories matter. And there's a lot of things that we can invest our time and our energy in. But there's nothing quite like recording our memories, taking the photos, writing down the story, using your handwriting to document your love for your people and the things that are going on in your life, and the lives of the people that you love. So I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for trying, for inspiring others. And I want to encourage you to keep on telling your stories, to keep inspiring others to do so, and to keep making pretty stuff.